Welcome, everybody. I thought I'd do an episode today. I kind of did this over my old league. I did like 15, 20-minute episodes for the league. I just kind of go over some various topics. Today, I'll probably do a preseason predictions review, and then I do some random draft stuff and some free agent trade deadline stuff, and maybe a video for the preseason or the postseason predictions there and some previews. So, anyways, I thought today it'd be fun to do one for the predictions, just kind of review what the league thinks of us. I thought the first glance I looked over here, kind of thought about these divisions here. So for anyone that forgets, I guess I'm new to the league, but for all you guys, it'd be a big change. Got the 8, 8, 8, and 8 for the four divisions now to equal 32 teams, which is really cool. I really like the look of the divisions so far. Should be some awesome squads here in each division. Pretty strong looking balance for all of them. If you look at this here, we have the American League predictions up top here. What you'll notice here is the Cleveland Spiders offense is projected to be quite a bit better than everybody else's, all the way up to almost 900 runs, 875 with a 271 projected batting average. Everybody else is way down the 240s and 230s pretty much. So that's a really good looking squad. On the pitching side of things, we have four teams at the bottom with a projected 4 and above ERA for the AL East division here, and then we got four teams in the threes. The best looking pitchers the game thinks for the predictions wise is the Montreal Expos, which they do have a really nice staff. They got some really nice looking arms here, especially that guy. Josh Jewell's an absolute beast there, and then Benny here's got some major stuff for a young guy. So really explosive arms. A lot of lefties in this rotation right now. They got a nice 6-man rotation rolling here for the preseason. Probably turn into a 5-man when they drop Logan Allen there. We'll see what they do with that. Should be a really good squad there. They've won, I think it was like 85 plus games 3 years in a row. And game projects them to win quite a bit this year. So nice looking squad there in Montreal. They built up with some youth. Toronto Blue Jays projected next at 85 wins, and then you got 84 wins, and then you got four teams at the bottom here. In the AL West division, you got Milwaukee Brewers projected to score 761 runs with a 3.1 ERA projected, which is quite a bit lower than everyone else in this division. So game thinks their pitchers are just phenomenal. It doesn't have them as having any more strikeouts than everybody else, so the game just must love their control and their movement. Quite a bit less walks than everybody too, at 438 projected. No one else below 500. So really nice looking pitching staff there in Milwaukee. Really interesting to look at the top players here. If you got Carmouche here, only hit 202 last year with a 216 BAP. He struck out 22% of the time, had a sub 200 ISO. So really bad year compared to his ratings. I'd expect him to really turn it around. 6'6" with 75 power and plus hit tool. Guy should be projected to hit a lot of home runs there, almost 50 there. So we'll see where he falls. The game's got the young gun here, Tony Guerra, one of the best young prospects I've seen in a long time. Development-wise, a crazy prospect, almost fully developed to the draft, it looks like. So this guy's going to be an absolute beast. Big free agent pickup there in Los Angeles. He's projected to have a big season. So you got some interesting projections there. So 3 teams above 100 wins, one team in the 90s, and then a lot of teams in the 80s there in the AL. So if you look down here to the NL, Tampa Bay is projected to have a monstrous pitching staff at 2.92 projected ERA, only projected to let up just over 500 runs, which is wild there. So projected to score over 700. Really good squad there. So 103 win projection there. Everyone else is 92 or below. So the game really thinks Tampa's 10 wins better than everybody else right now, but we'll see what happens. You got some good parity here. There's only 3 teams projected below 73 wins here. Should be a pretty balanced NL also. The one thing that jumps out to me, which is crazy, is if you look here at league history, you can go down to league history. So in real life, in 2019, that's a real life stat. So in the last year of real life, the teams hit 250. Both divisions, NL and AL. So that's the team ERA. So the average ERA is 4.3 and 4.6 because that was back when they had DH, I think, in 2019. And the AL, none in the NL. So that's probably why the bit more offensive stats in the AL there. But if you look down here, the last season, we've had almost all seasons combined here, about a 4.3 ERA, 4.4, 4.2, 4.2, 4.4. So always between 4.2 and 4.4 pretty much every single season for the NL ERAs, and then 4.3, 4. So it's pretty much the same thing, about 4.4 league-wide average, and teams hit about 250. But if you look here at our preseason predictions, at the entire NL here, almost every single team it has as a sub-4 ERA except for 2 teams. which is crazy because it doesn't have anyone as high as the league average ERA. It has literally every single team like 2.9, 3.1, 3.1. So it thinks everyone's offense sucks balls. I don't think it thinks the pitching is that good. We'll see, but that looks way too low. So I'm curious what's up with that. The new game has some change ratings or something, or they want to score a lot less runs, but it has some ridiculous pitching ERAs. It has like 5 teams here having like a 3.1 ERA projection or below. You got some really good arms here. You got Dustin May in St. Louis has some crazy ratings. And then you got his teammate there, Alex, has some monster ratings too. The Tampa Bay stud here, Israel here, has 75 stuff potential. A couple monster pitches, 101 miles an hour, just a freak arm here. And then you got the nice pitcher and a couple nice pitchers in Atlanta here. The lefty, Mackenzie Gore, the veteran's a real beast. Another Tampa guy down here. Well, he's a closer, I guess. So pretty crazy predictions out of these guys. So it just is really interesting to me why the ERAs are so low, the projected ERAs, but it doesn't really matter because I'm sure that won't happen. But for whatever reason, the game has some interesting stats here. So that's our predictions. We'll see what happens here. If you go to the league leaders last year, you can go back to change the year here to 2031. We'll see the stats here. Royce Lewis had the MVP last year with just a freakish season. And then you had Herrero in Toronto here, had a monster season there, that third base, first base / DH there. Really big talent there. Pitching side of things, you had a couple guys here. You had Quintero here. I didn't see him at the top of the pitching projections. I'll have to look again, but crazy season last year out of him. We'll see. The other thing that had in the predictions I noticed is a monster season. And I have Ron Brumley here. Ron Brumley had 470 innings combined the last 2 seasons, which is unreal. Has him projected at another 234 innings this year. So that guy, his arm might just explode, but hopefully the Tigers can get a couple big seasons out of him before that happens. Just an absolutely incredible talent with 70 stamina, so he might be able to pull it off. The guy has 15.1 WAR over the last 2 years, so just an incredible run here. Kind of like prime Clayton Kershaw type stuff there. So really cool there. I don't see that Casey. Oh, here he is, Quintero. Sorry. Yeah, that 80 curveball. So he's projected to have another monster season, the second overall pick back in 2025. So interesting stuff to look at here. We'll see what happens, but it's going to be a fun year for sure. There's a lot of teams. No one really, only 3 teams projected below 70 wins. So should be a nice balance here. Nobody's really that bad. Should be a lot of good baseball going on. I'm excited to get going in this league here. Looks like a pretty good season. I'm projected to win. Where am I looking here? Sorry, the wrong one. I'm projected to win 84 games here, which is quite a bit down for the 97. I couldn't afford to bring back Tyler Freeman, but a couple little pickups. I thought one really interesting thing about my team I've never really tried before, but I thought it was really interesting to look at is my, let's see here, position. My base running. I noticed when I joined this squad, almost every base runner in my team was rated ridiculously high. And I figured I scored a lot more runs last year than I would have thought the team would have based on the talent they had. It was a pretty good squad, but didn't seem like 97 win talent. So I thought that was really interesting to see how good of a base runner everyone has. Stu Kidd has 80 base running here. Kyle Teal's a monster base runner here with 80 base running, 6.5 ceiling out of a catcher. Signed Xavier Edwards just to kind of keep up with that base running thing. I thought I'd have some fun here and get a couple more good base runners. So got a guy that has 80 speed, 80 stealing, 75 base running here, and Xavier Edwards for a couple $1 million. Nice little middle infielder. Teach him some left field this preseason. Louis Garcia is a 75 base runner. And then I got Tony Gomez here. My first baseman's a 75 base runner. And then I got Minor here is a 75 base runner, my third baseman. Joe Adell is a 70 base runner. You get the point here. Brian Hayes is my worst base runner with 75 stealing, 60 base running. So almost every single starter in my team, these guys are some backups I called up for spring training, but just a ridiculous base running team. So I thought that would be really funny. I noticed too in this stat here, base running, I led the league last year. Well, I keep saying I, but whoever, Johnny there that was controlling Baltimore, I guess, led the league in base running at plus 31. So it was a really cool stat. If you guys aren't super into the stats here, you can use the UBR stat, which I use ultimate base running stat here. So anything above like a 0 is pretty good. So base running BSR is kind of similar. So the top guys in the league, actually, if you look at last year's stats, you go to sortable stats. Oh, you can't go to last year on this, shoot. But if you sort it by UBR, last year the top base runner in baseball was Kelenic. Kelenic was an absolute monster base runner here. He had 13.8 BSR, and I don't think anyone else in the league was over 9. And as you can see, he had a 12 and then one else. So it was just a crazy 80 in the stats here. So just not hurting you on the base pass. So anyways, kind of a silly stat to build your team around, but I figured I don't know. The team was already set up when I overtook it with all these base runners. I just thought it'd be hilarious to get to Xavier Edwards and another guy here, um, sign some guys that are just pretty solid base runners, and just see what I could do if I could lead the league in that stat a couple of years in a row and get a bunch of stolen bases and just not cause myself a bunch of outs. So I thought that'd be really fun. But yeah, some little interesting stats to kind of keep an eye on in the game that I didn't used to kind of pay attention to those base running stats, but it's kind of fun. So, anyways, that's it for this episode. I will probably make one soon. I like making content, so if any of you guys are interested, hopefully drop a like or whatever, and we'll just keep pumping out the videos, and I'll probably have some guests on. So, anyways, cheers, guys.